Boston.
It's God's side and the other side. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. Hey, everybody get exposed. Pray for all my foes, but it's the nail roll. Woo! These rappers gonna sell their soul. I don't care if they hate me. This the life I chose. Jay-Z mocking Christ with his new movie.
Someday he might pay.
You won't catch me partying with Diddy. I ain't TD Jakes. And Kirk Franklin scared to call the LGBT cause he fake. I was in Tokyo getting in them scriptures. You can go ask Jay.
Okay, I think we're ready. Let's rock and roll here, Kevin. Let's get ready to rumble. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. 60 minutes of hard-hitting rounds of action. Right here. No place else. Sports on Christian Airwaves. On the Christian Radio, Christian Airwaves.
It's our first show of the new year as well. So Happy New Year to everybody.
You can't beat it. Happy New Year, everyone. We're ready to rock and roll. Prayer. Yes. Prayer for victory in spiritual warfare. So let's get to it. Take up the shield of faith. Dear God, in times of doubting, fear, or anxiety, I might try to turn to a crutch to get me through that moment or that day. Whatever that crutch is, Lord, if it is not faith in you, I am choosing to fill myself with something other than the Holy Spirit. Help me in those times to remember that I have access to your presence and to the Spirit's power. Remind me to whisper a simple prayer, turning my thoughts to you, and not to seek something else to cover my fears and doubts or distract me from them. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. Amen. All right. It's a new year. We're ready to go.
That it is.
What you got for us? Wait.
No, you go ahead first.
Oh, yeah, that's
Jump
right.
the gun there.
I can't wait. Let's just do a little Today in History. Today in history, everybody, we have a couple of things, but let's start off with in 1991. Get the computer right here in front of me, so I'm not turning my head. You guys can see my gorgeous face. Today in history, 12-year-old, and I think we have a face of her here somewhere. She's somewhere in there. Oh, she's not. Well, she should be. 12-year-old Chinese diver Fu Mingzia won the 10-millimeter platform gold medal at the World Swimming in Championships in Perth, Australia, and she became the youngest world champion in the history of any aquatic sport. Now, it's a title that she's going to hold forever. Why? I mean, yeah, she's 12 years old, but if she was 12, there was somebody that was 13, and then there was somebody that was 14 before them. But the reason why she's going to hold on to this title forever is that after that game, the rules were changed. After that competition, the rules were changed, requiring all competitors to be at least 14 years old. So she's always going to be there. Now, I want you to understand something. Her training sessions averaged 4 to 5 hours a day when she was a kid. She won at 12 years old, but she was doing 4 to 5 hours a day as a 9, 10, 11-year-old. For all you lazy Americans who sit around and, grumble about life isn't fair, she was doing 5-hour sessions a day. 100 dives per day, okay? And at sometimes, who knows, probably 200 dives per day. Now, that's work. That's a work ethic. Yeah. Question is, how many gold medals did Fu Mingzia win? How many gold medals did Fu Mingzia win? And if you call in and have that, you can get a host of things that we have. We'll give it to you. The next thing we have is,
if there are any swimmer enthusiasts out there.
Swimmer enthusiasts. Yeah. There's also Google, too. Also, we have today, this is a very, 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 very special day. Today, on January 4th, 2000, a day after accepting the head coaching position at the New York Jets, Bill Belichick resigned, and he moved to the New England Patriots. I think we have a clip of Bill in here.
I've talked to Bill, as you know, several times through the, more than several, many times through the last year, particularly the last 6 months, and I'll read you the statement that I gave to them. due to the various uncertainties surrounding my position as it relates to the team's new ownership, I've decided to resign as the head coach of the New York Jets. And in the long run, I'm not trying to disrupt anybody or negatively affect anybody. And if I am, I'm sorry. But I've got to be honest with myself. I've got to take a look at the situation. I have some experience in this league, and I have to do what I'm comfortable doing and what I feel is.
Bam. That was it. That was the right thing for Bill Belichick, resigning as the HC of the NYC and NYJs. Love it. And then after that, everything is history. 20 years in New England, 9 Super Bowls. I don't know how many AFC championship games. I think it was something like 14 or 15 out of 20 years. Crazy numbers. But that was Bill Belichick resigning as the HC of the NYJ.
Now the Jets find themselves in another coaching conundrum, and maybe the Patriots too.
Yeah, the Patriots
after Sunday, but we'll talk about that. But
we'll talk about that.
It is amazing, Clay. Just on that, fast forward 20 years now. Would you ever imagine Bill Belichick? If you get to time travel and say, hey, in 20 years, Bill Belichick is going to win X amount of Super Bowls with the New England Patriots, and then it's all going to break down, and then he's going to take a year off and go coach the University of North Carolina Tar Heels.
You would never think about it, but
there's a college crazy.
There's a question there: who became the coach of the New York Jets? So if you call us in and you have that answer, 844-249-5247, 844-249-5247. Call us in if you have that answer. You get T-shirts, mugs, Celtics collages with the championship teams: Bill Sharman, Casey Jones, Bill Russell, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Derek White, Kevin McHale. We have them all. We got them all in there. So call in and you can find out. Call in with that answer and you get to pick from one of our many gifts. With that, we're on to Kevin's Corner with the Bruins.
And it was a short stint, by the way, for that coach, too, if they come up with the answer on that. But anyway, we'll talk about football as we get throughout the show. But for the Bruins, Bruins have lost 2 games in a row. New Year's Eve day against the Washington Capitals, and then 2 nights ago against the New York Rangers, a New York Rangers team that has been scuttling as of late. But Bruins looking to get back on track. Clay, we joked about off air. The Bruins continue to hold down the 3rd spot in the Atlantic Division, right behind the Florida Panthers, and the team they're going to face tonight up in Toronto. That, of course, the Toronto Maple Leafs Bruins, 20-16-4, continuing to lead the league in penalty minutes. Clay, they're averaging 4.5 penalty minutes per game.
That's right.
They
lead the league. Not only that, they lead the league in overtime losses.
171 total penalties this year. That ranks first in the NHL. Last time these 2 teams faced, the Bruins lost. Actually, that was on election night, so perhaps it was a good game. Good game not to watch. The Bruins lost that game 4-0 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Anyway, but some other news for the Bruins as well. They have inked enforcer and a gentleman who they brought in from the Linus Ullmark trade in the summertime, Mark Kastelik. They inked him to a 3-year, $4.7 million extension, 4 goals, 11 points. He's not here for. Go ahead.
Can I add?
Yeah.
What is that? That's just going to be more penalty minutes.
Well, he is tied for the most penalty minutes in the league this year with 76, but also, Clay, ranked 2nd in the league with hits, 151. So, I don't like it. I think I do like it. I think Kastelik has been great this year in terms of what he's been able to do. We like the enforcement and remember Sean Thornton, the great Sean Thornton, who played for the Bruins.
We remember the great Sean Thornton.
We sort of have gone away from that in recent years. The Bruins have, so I like it. I think he provides a certain thing the Bruins need, and obviously we don't like they lead the league in penalty minutes, but when it comes to enforcement and someone who's going to anchor the 4th line, I like it, and I think Mark Kastelik has played well enough to warrant staying here long term, at least for another 3 years.
Yeah, and we could use the penalty minutes. That's what we lead the league in, and there's no Bruin in the top 10 of scoring, which is points,
correct,
goals, or plus minus. So
that's correct.
Unless we count penalty minutes. I don't know what to say. Call in, guys. Let me know what you think. 844-249-5247. What do you think about the Bruins and where they're going in the direction if they need, more enforcement on the team, or they need somebody who can score a goal. We'll see.
So, any Bruins up in Toronto tonight? Let's talk to Wayne, who's on the line. Good morning, Wayne.
Hey, good morning, guys. Again, Happy New Year to you
Happy
both.
New Year's.
Thank you. Same to you.
I have the answer to the diving question. She won 4 golds and 1 silver.
Yeah. You're right.
Wow.
And go ahead.
But you can pick and choose. You'll tell us what you want, whether it's a mug, water bottle, T-shirt, or a Celtics collage. Which
I'll have the water bottle, please.
You got it.
And as we're speaking of hockey, I'm glad you're speaking hockey again. There's been some great action going on in the World Juniors right now. I don't know if you caught any of it.
Not me.
I watched a little bit the USA Canada game on New Year's Eve, Wayne.
That was a great game, and I'm glad that we scored that penalty against Cohen, number 27, and against 13, Pinelli, because they were taking some extras every time they kept hitting our guys, man. And it was nice to see Ryan Leonard find the puck. Although it was an empty netter, but it was still a great game for us.
Semifinals today, Wayne. The U.S. plays the Czechs at 7:30, and of course we have Finland against Sweden at 3:30 there, and no Canada in the semifinals in the World Juniors, which I think surprised
What do
a
you
lot
think?
of folks.
I know he's going with the U.S.
There's so many MVPs on the U.S. team, the BC line, the BU line.
Wow.
But again, I love Ryan Leonard. He got a stick to the face, a puck to the nose. He's like a werewolf. You got to shoot him with a silver bullet on a full moon. You can't keep this guy off the ice and out of the game, man.
Wow.
I love his game.
Kevin, you seen this guy?
He's a good player.
Good player.
A good
Ty
player.
Domo-like?
Exactly right, and the future is bright for, I guess, American hockey players.
Great.
Not so much for Canada, especially with the embarrassing being eliminated by the Czechs in the quarterfinals for the second year in a row, and a lot of questions about the state of the Canadian hockey in the World Juniors.
Maurice Bouchard, where have you gone?
I know it's a new year. We're looking forward, but I still want to go back. I got to say, again, thanks to Danny Ainge for Jason Tatum draft.
Right.
Thanks to Brad Stevens for stealing D. White. And
Derek
let's
White.
make D. White an all-star this year, man. He's deserving of an all-star nod, man. He deserves it.
He's the guy. He led the team last night in points, 23 points. Hit some big shots, and we're going to be talking about him a little bit later. Derek White, right there.
And timely blocks again.
Right.
I mean, the whole package. He's got the whole package.
Right. So he's an all-star. He definitely is. Had a couple of off games, but he's an all-star, and he's looking like it. So you know what? We're going to get right into that. So we're going to get off with you, and we're going to get right into the Celtics, which is the next topic.
Have a great day. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We're going to play a little clip here that in which Derek White is talked about.
Peyton, you guys started that fourth quarter on an 11-0 run. What keyed that for you?
Derek had a lot of big shots right there. Played hard defense, got stops, and got out and run.
You shot 80% from the floor, hit some big threes, but had some nice finishes at the rim.
I try to have a complete game. I'm not just a three-point shooter. I'm a complete ball player. I can hit the mid-range if I need to.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is Peyton Pritchett talking about his full arsenal of his repertoire. Mid-range game, long three-point game, layups, playing defense. I saw the game, and I was telling Kevin this off the air. I saw the game Tuesday, the New Year's Eve game, and these guys, they're in good hands. That guy, Brad Stevens, has really stocked the cupboard. That guy, Peyton Pritchett, he's a dog. He played against some guys that was just as tough as him, even though it didn't show on Toronto's end. They got blown out by 50. But he played some guys that were really playing him tough and forced him to do different things. I think he only had 14 or 15 points that night. But he kept pushing it. He kept pushing the tempo. He kept pushing the game. Jason Tatum, with no Kristaps Porzingis or Jaylen Brown, held court, took over the game. Derek White, Drew Holiday's first game back, and he was shooting. And last night, Drew Holiday scored the first, I think might be the first 14 of the 20 points, because he was just going crazy from outside on 3-pointers and taking the ball inside every chance he could. It was no way that the Rockets were going to beat them on their home court with their best player. It wouldn't have mattered who they could have brought back Akeem Olajuwon. It wouldn't have mattered last night. It wouldn't have mattered because these guys, the Celtics, they have that good guys, and these guys want to play. And you've got a team with this group of guys that you can really be proud of. These guys play it right. Peyton Pritchard came on the interview, and the first thing he said was Derek White hit big shots. Jason Tatum always deflects the credit. Derek White deflects the credit. These guys play the game right, and they're unbelievable. We're going to go into stats later on. Right now, we're going to get a little advertising revenue in here with Dylan. So we're going to bring Dylan's in, and whenever you're ready, I will press the button. Here we go. Are you feeling a little achy or sore from the cold weather? Then take a visit to Dylan's Russian Steam Bath. At Dylan's Dry Sauna or Wet Steam Room, you can de-stress, detox, and unwind in style. Plenty of showers are available, a small snack bar, large screen televisions, and comfortable chairs to cool off in during your visit. A variety of oil massages are also available. They have 2 convenient locations, one in Chelsea, the other in Quincy. Go online or call 617-549-3484 for operating times or for more information. That is 617-549-3484. Dylan's Russian Steam Baths, where heat, steam, and water have a therapeutic effect. And you can really use that right now when the weather is cold. Getting into a nice sauna or a nice steam bath because loosens up those joints as you mature. The Celtics, number 1 in 3-point attempts, of course, and number 1 in 3-points made. These guys are just filling up the bucket. I think the number two in net rating. Jason Tatum leads the team in points with 28.2, rebounds 9.4, and assists 5.6.
It's an all-around team and a drubbing last night of a really good Houston Rockets team, 109-86 last night. And Celtics proving no Jaylen Brown, no problem. 2 games in a row they've been out without Jaylen, winning last night in Houston and 2 nights ago in Minnesota on their big road trip here to the Midwest. And a huge game tomorrow against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Sunday afternoon, and team Clay that the Thunder, they have won 14 games in a row. And
really, they have.
And
perfect to break that streak.
29-5, and showing that they're not just threats in the Western Conference, but they're here to stay in the NBA as well. And that's going to be a great game for the Celtics and the Thunder tomorrow afternoon.
I am taking the Celtics. The Celtics are looking that good. They're ready. They want to play. They look healthy. I don't know if Jaylen Brown's going to be back. I don't know that yet. If he is, that'd be a great thing. I saw him go down. I was sitting at about maybe 10 to 20 feet away from him. It happened right on the left baseline. He ran into Jakob Poeltl, who was like, an oak tree. He was trying to turn the corner. Jakob went out there, picked him up on defense. He turned the corner, ran right into him, and he went down like somebody hit him with an oak tree, which he did. It didn't look good. He lay down there, grabbing his shoulder. He eventually got up, made it through the played some more throughout the game, and then next thing I knew, he was sitting on the bench with an ice pack on his shoulder, and that was that.
Yeah. Well, the Raptors are in trouble. There's no doubt about that. One of the worst teams. Can I just say a thing? I was looking at the schedule of the Celtics. They're in their Midwest, Mountain West swing, whatever you want to call it. They play Oklahoma City tomorrow and Denver 2 nights after that on Tuesday. Then they come home, and then they have to come back out west back to Texas to play Dallas, and then go out to the West as well. Whoever designed the schedule really is a head scratcher. You come home, you play a couple games, and you have to go back out west later this month. Why not just do it in a few months? Or I'm not going to say be out there for a month, but to me, it's kind of stupid, in my opinion. You have these games, and you come home for a week, or not even a week, and then have to go right back out west in the same month.
Well, I'm looking at it here. So they're going to do OKC, then they're going to Denver, then they'll be home with Sacramento and New Orleans. They'll go back out to Toronto, come back home for Atlanta and in Orlando.
Then they got to go back out west.
Then they go
After already
back
being out west now. I think it's stupid.
You know, that's why you don't get paid to make the schedule.
Thank God.
Because you would do it efficiently.
I would.
Yeah.
And I just want to say one more thing on the NBA, Clay. Some news that has swept the NBA, and that is the saga in South Beach. Jimmy Butler suspended 7 games by the Miami Heat for conduct detrimental to the team, coming out and saying that he has no joy playing basketball for the Miami Heat right now, when Eric Spoelstra, of course, benching Jimmy Butler in the fourth quarter, basically saying that there are 5 guys out there that played and have been playing better than him. This all started when Pat Riley said they weren't going to trade him. Now they're saying, well, his representatives have approaches saying that he wants to be traded, so we'll look into a trade. And a 7-game suspension for Jimmy Butler. Has Jimmy Butler played his last game with the Miami Heat? What say you, Clay Morris?
Yes, he has. He's played his last game with the Miami Heat, and I would be cautious of picking up Jimmy Butler because this guy is going to crash and burn after maybe a year or 2 with your organization. Jimmy Butler, you signed this great contract at the time. Now Jaylen Brown's making more than you. Now Jason Tatum's making more than you, and then probably a couple more guys. And you think you want to get paid more. You think you should get paid more. Yeah, you're at that last end. You're 31, 32 years old. You're at the end. But you can't stay healthy. Jimmy, you can't stay healthy. Now, you want sympathy. At $40 million a year, you get no sympathy. None. Collect your money, play the game. Okay? Or not. Now, if another team picks you up, maybe they'll pay the money, but same thing's going to happen. You'll get paid, and within a year or 2, you'll crash and burn, you'll be out injured, and you'll want to get paid more money. So I really don't feel for Jimmy Butler. I think he's a jerk, in a lot of ways in the first place. But it's hard that the rest of your team is out there playing, and Miami does not pay anybody else but you, Jimmy, and Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. Everyone else is getting $5, $6, $8 million. You're getting 40. And you don't want to play. You have no
more
joy.
Than that.
You have no joy.
More than that, his cap hit next year is for $52 million for his player option.
He has no joy at $40 million.
It just is very interesting to me, the whole situation, because there are rumors all year surrounding it, and then Pat Riley comes out, and it's very rare for a GM, for a president of basketball operations to come out and say, we're trading this player, we're not trading this player, before they actually do it. They said he wasn't trading him, and I don't know if he was calling his bluff or something, and then the wheels started to come off the bus even more. Butler stopped playing well, and he's averaging 17.5 points per game, but
when he wants to play.
Eric Spoelstra, exactly right. Spoelstra clearly doesn't have time for him. The Heat right now are 17-15. 7-game suspension right now. I think we have seen his last days with the Miami Heat, and we'll see what team picks him up, and we'll see if he has the joy back in his life. It must be tough for him, as you said, but getting paid all that money.
Yeah, at 40. How much is he making? I just look that up while I.
Well, he's got a player option next year for $52 million.
Is it 52? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's the player option. He could pick it up if he wants to, but he doesn't. He wants an extension at $50-something million for another 3 years or 4 years at his leisure. I have no love for Pat Riley. He's not high on my list either. But between Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler, I can't pick one that I would like better. I think I would like to throw both of them into a disposal truck and just haul them away. Neither one of these guys are, I think, high character guys. Okay. So, but that's my spiel on Jimmy Butler. I think he'll crash and burn wherever he goes. They took him out of Minnesota, took him out of Chicago. He crashed and burned in Minnesota. Ran cat into the ground. The guy who ended up with Golden State, who was a high draft pick, said bad things about both of them.
Talking about Andrew Wiggins?
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins said he just disparaged both of them, derided both of them, and rode his way out of there. And Miami got him for pennies on the dollar because they said, he said he was not going to play with those guys, Karl Anthony Towns or Anthony Wiggins. He got his way out of Minnesota, went to Miami.
Well, remember, he went to Philly first for a year.
Did he go? Oh,
very briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he made an ultimatum to them, and they said, see you later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He said either me or Tobias Harris. And they took Tobias Harris, which was, who knows? Jimmy Butler's going to wear out his welcome wherever he goes. So Philadelphia, you might have had 1 or 2 good years. I don't know if you would have won a championship, but by now, Jimmy Butler would have won off your team also, because whatever the case may be, he's just not. He's just not a guy who can be happy. And we can go back to whatever that might be, but it really doesn't matter. At $40 million, you have to mature. You have to mature. You have to start taking classes. You have to start going to psychology, counseling sessions. You have to do all these things that warrant you to make this money and to behave responsible, which Jimmy Butler has a hard time doing, and nobody seems to hold him accountable for this. So he gets away with it.
Safe to say you wouldn't want the Celtics to trade for Jimmy Butler.
Heck no. Keep this team. Brad Stevens has done the best job of any GM in the last 3 to 4 years. And if anybody disagrees, 844-249-5247, 844-249-5247. If anybody wants to stand up for Jimmy Butler and says, and if anybody wants to call and say that Jimmy Butler is a stand-up guy, that the Boston Celtics should go out and acquire at whatever the cost may be, please call. Please call. I would like to hear this. I would like to hear this conversation.
I certainly would too. It'd be very interesting. And it looks like the teams that he would like to go to are reported to be the Phoenix Suns, the Warriors, the Mavericks, and the Houston Rockets. So wants to go out west and play for a team out there. And
Ime Udoka,
we'll see.
Ime Udoka would eat this guy alive. He would eat this guy alive. It wouldn't be 3 months before he would demand to be traded off the Houston Rockets, because Ime Udoka ate his team up last night. Even though they put up a good fight,
right?
Alperin, whatever that guy's name is, wouldn't get off the ball. The center, Green, wouldn't get off the ball, and he put it right out there, right in the press conference after the game. These guys gummed up the works because they wouldn't get off the ball. The Celtics applied the pressure, which they are supposed to do, and they held on to the ball, stuck to their hands, and they tried to make the play themselves.
Right. Rockets putting together a nice season, though, third in the Western Conference, and
love them.
A lot of teams are the Memphis Grizzlies, the Thunder, the Rockets. These younger teams are playing some good basketball on the Western Conference.
The Celtics are the top of the heap. King of the hill. The Celtics just have to worry about OKC.
Well,
and Denver.
For in this trip, but also still 4.5 back Cleveland for that.
But I'm talking about the West. If they're thinking about the West, the only two teams they should worry about. I mean, listen, you got to worry about every team, but the only two teams who could really give you trouble out there, Celtics, if you play your game, it's Denver and OKC.
There we go.
All right.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Jimmy Butler. We'll see what happens with the Celtics as the weeks.
What's the news on LeBron? What's LeBron doing these days?
You're the LeBron guy. I'm not. I don't care. I just pay no attention to him. I pay no attention to him.
LeBron.
A discussion, Clay, I think we are going to have on the show about the NBA and this is sort of captivated the league throughout the year. The ratings are continuing to be down this year for the NBA.
As well they should be.
Continue to be down this year. And everybody's throwing out all sorts of different excuses. I think J.J. Redick said it was because of the guys on TNT. That's the problem inside the NBA with Shaq and Charles Barkley.
Is that right?
And all these other folks.
That's interesting. Wouldn't be the guy who got him hired, LeBron James.
Exactly right.
Flopping and falling and getting to free throws and getting calls. And every day we have to be bombarded with some unusual stat fact that ESPN has pulled up that he's played so many games underneath a pillow in some corner of some room, and he leads in that statistic. Doesn't that make him the greatest?
They brought in this in-season tournament to try to bolster ratings. It hasn't worked. I'm not sure what Adam Silver can do. I mean,
he should retire.
He's been in there for about 10 years.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Now, granted, I mean, I watch the Celtics. I don't watch them religiously. I don't watch the NBA religiously. To me, it's not exciting. It's not exciting.
Well, no, not when certain players are going to get certain calls all the time.
Correct.
All the time. That would be James Harden, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, almost everybody on the Lakers on the Fakers team. So, if you want WWE, and I love WWE, but if I want WWE, I will go watch WWE. I know what the outcome's going to be every time. But when you watch the NBA, a lot of times you feel like you already know what the outcome is. When you watch Miami, another team that gets calls handed to them. When you watch Los Angeles Fakers, they're going to get every call possible. And depending on who the team is and who they're playing, but generally, they're going to get all the calls. Okay, it would be a cold day in heck before calls go against LA, and LeBron loses this wig every time it happens. But that being said, I'm done with that. I'm done with the NBA.
Yeah,
I just
we'll
like to
close that-
concentrate
yeah.
on the Celtics.
We'll close that discussion now. But of course, the Celtics tomorrow afternoon, 3:30, tip-off in OKC against the Thunder
OKC.
team that have won 14 games in a row. So it's bound to be a good game tomorrow afternoon. All right, then let's talk some football. But before that, we're going to talk about our good friends at Oyama Investments. And if you're looking for a smart investment, you're searching for a place to find a foundation. They're more than just real estate. They're your trusted partner in building a secure future. Whether you're investing in a property that'll grow with you, purchasing a dream home, well, they make the process easy, transparent, and rewarding as well. They specialize in finding properties that align perfectly with your goals. And if you imagine yourself owning a piece of the future, whether it be a luxury apartment, a commercial space, or a family home in the perfect neighborhood, and if you're new to the real estate investment market, well, don't you worry. They're here every step of the way, helping you make informed choices with confidence. Real estate prices rising. There's never been a better time to invest. Visit oyamainvestments.com or give them a call today, 617-221-8881, where your vision becomes a reality. That's our good friends at Oyama Investments.
Amen. Amen.
So let's talk some football, Clay. Do you want to briefly talk about the college, and then we'll get to the
because
NFL?
I think we went over that. We didn't even touch that, and we meant to.
Well, I think we
You brought up LeBron.
We touched. You brought up LeBron.
You brought up LeBron.
know, I didn't bring up LeBron. You said, "What's the deal with LeBron?" The Lakers said, "I don't know. I don't pay attention."
Then after that, all bets were off.
You're secretly obsessed, I think, with bashing the Lakers, and that's fine. I'm with you on that. But
bashing the Lakers. I
the
mean,
fakers, as you called them.
The fakers. No, they would be all right if they just didn't have that bum on their team who should not even be playing. But anyway, let's go.
So we had the quarterfinals of the college football playoff this past week. We had Notre Dame beating Georgia in a great game. Not so much a great game, actually. Notre Dame took care of Georgia for most of the second half, but in a really great game, we had Texas beating Arizona State in double overtime in a great contest, 39-31. And, of course, we had Ohio State defeating, yes, indeed, Ohio State defeating Oregon. Oregon, number one in the country for most of the year, not losing one game this year, and Ohio State coming in with all the criticism of Ryan Day. He can't beat Michigan. His team isn't ready, yada, yada, yada. Well, I don't want to hear any more criticism about Ryan Day because, the Michigan games are very important to Ohio State fans. There's no doubt about that to end the year. But these games are even more important, and for Ohio State to beat Oregon, and to not just beat Oregon, Clay, but to completely throttle them. Yeah. I mean, this was a blowout from the opening kickoff, 41-21. They were up huge to enter the second half, and just a great win for Ohio State. They're my team to go to the college football final. I think they're going to beat Texas on next Friday evening, and of course Notre Dame playing Penn State. Penn State beating up on Boise State 31-14. But the storyline for me is Notre Dame, a team that lost to Northern Illinois this year at home, and a lot of people said there's no way the Fighting Irish can make the playoff. The season is done. Fire Marcus Freeman. There's no hope whatsoever.
None.
Well, here they are right now, and finishing the year 13-1, and taking care of a team like Georgia, who has been in this position many times before under head coach Kirby Smart, Riley Leonard, and the Fighting Irish heading to Miami to play the Nittany Lions of Penn State, and I think Notre Dame's going to beat Penn State. They are favored in that game by 2. Ohio State favored by 6 against Texas, the Final Four in the college football playoff. Got to give credit, though, to Penn State and James Franklin. Penn State has not been in this position in a while, and they were able to beat SMU and Boise State, but now the real task begins, and it is against a really tough team that nobody wants to face right now with Notre Dame. Give me Notre Dame and Ohio State to the final here at the end of the month.
Here's what I've learned. They tried to be fair and equitable. I mean, in the right way. They went out and got smaller college teams. Boise State, to a lesser extent, the Ducks. I don't think the Ducks are quite Georgia's. I don't think they're Michigan or Ohio State or Alabama. I really don't. And, I've been proven right in my thought process on that. You want to give, it's like the NCAA basketball tournament. You want to let the teams that have shown that they can play, yes, you want them in there. But can they stack up against the powerhouses like Georgia, like Alabama, like Michigan, like Ohio State? It's going to be pretty tough for them, as Boise State found out, as as the Ducks found out when it came down to it, because they were throttled. It was like 20. I don't even know what it is. 20, maybe 20 something in the first quarter, and maybe close to 30 by the second quarter going into the second half. But the difference showed on offense when you watch Ohio State's offense. They just look bigger. They just look bigger than the Oregon Ducks defense.
It was 34-8 heading into the third quarter.
Yeah, they just look bigger. I mean, the wide receivers look bigger than the defensive backs. That everybody looked bigger on the Ohio State side than they did on the Oregon defense side. So,
well, I mean, this is the first year that Oregon's been in the Big Ten. They beat Ohio State once this year in a really close game, their closest game all year. They beat them by 32-31. But other teams, Clay, they just beat up all year. And, Oregon sort of as the number one team just sort of flew under the radar throughout most of the year. There was no real controversy with them. There was nothing really. I mean, they did beat Penn State in the Big Ten championship game 45-37. But head coach Dan Lanning said best is that he didn't prepare his team to win.
really,
And that was clear from the start. Ohio State had a tougher schedule, but I think the tougher schedule bodes well for some of these teams that need it. I think a game against Tennessee where Ohio State clearly dominated, and they clearly dominated against Oregon, and I think they're going to play Texas well. I think they're going to beat Texas. Not to say Texas is not a good team. They are. Steve Sarkisian has done a wonderful job down there in Austin, but I think Ohio State favored by 6 in this game, and that shows. That absolutely shows, and that's why I say it. I think we're going to see the Buckeyes against the Fighting Irish in the playoff at the end of January here.
I think so too. I think it's going to be Notre Dame against the Ohio State.
And I think it was a good learning curve for the college football playoff this year. The first time this year where they brought in the 12-team format. And it'll be very interesting to see what the team does next year, what the league does next year, rather, the committee. There was some controversy, not having Alabama and not having South Carolina and not having Ole Miss and over teams like SMU. And I think Boise State was in there because they won their division and they were the highest ranked out of their division. So you had to do that. But, did Clemson deserve to get in? Did SMU deserve to get in? These are questions that are going to have to be looked at. And some of these teams like Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State, who they pay teams, they pay Alcorn State or they pay UMass, for an example, to come play so we can beat them up. I think some of these teams are going to look at it and say, maybe we start to stop that because the committee is going to start to look at strength of schedule even more so than they are now. That's going to be a question that
that's going to be terrible for those lower schools that get paid by Alabama or Georgia
to get beat up.
Yeah, to get beat up. I mean, but it gives them exposure. Otherwise, they would never get the exposure of playing a top powerhouse team. So I'm totally against that. But there's always changes in life, and we'll see what happens.
But they have, in my opinion, they have to look at strength of schedule of everything. They have to.
As we found out.
But you had to put SMU in the playoff. I mean, you had to do it because Clemson won the ACC. I mean, there was no doubt about it. But I think there was going to be. I mean, there was so much controversy last year, Clay, when this was only 4 teams last year, when they didn't put Florida State in after being undefeated. They didn't put Florida State in, and Alabama went in instead of them. That was a huge point of contention, and I think the committee tried to learn from that this year with 12 teams. And there was a question, too, should Indiana have been in there as well with their schedule all year? Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of questions that the committee has for next year, and we'll see. But I think more or less the 12-team format is good for the league. It's good for fans, not just of college football, but football in general. And I think, again, we're going to see Notre Dame, Ohio State. We'll see what happens.
Definitely. I think I'm picking them too. I'm picking them also. Now let's move on to our picks.
Yes, Week 18 in the NFL, the final week of the regular season.
I crushed them, ladies and gentlemen. I crushed the young whippersnapper.
Well, we did. Well, we were. You consider crush to be the same record. I'm not sure. I'd like to know your definition of the word crush, but we were both 10-3 in the 13 games we picked last week in the NFL, Week 17. Some upsets, of course. Clay, I don't know if you want to go on record and talk about why you felt that the Cowboys were to beat the Eagles. That was
Cooper Rush.
It was a bit of a head scratcher to me.
Cooper Rush. I thought they might sneak up on them, but
they were close, 41-7. But that's okay. That was a tough one. I think a game that we both got wrong, that I think a lot of people got wrong, and that was, of course, was the Giants
in Indianapolis
beating the Indianapolis Colts and Drew Lock from the Giants, guy that has sort of been a journeyman quarterback now after being drafted and by the Denver Broncos and never really made it out there. 4 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown, and Joe Flacco couldn't get done for the Colts. Colts are now out, eliminated from playoff contention, and Anthony Richardson didn't play in that game, said he was crawling around his house, couldn't walk.
Crawling around his house. Why was he crawling?
He couldn't walk, he said, back injury, and the future is not good for the young Anthony Richardson in the Indianapolis Colts. I'll say that, but I'm not going to talk a lot about the Colts because that's something we just don't have time for, nor patience for. In a huge game down in Washington last week, the Commanders beating the Atlanta Falcons to 30-24 to clinch their playoff berth, and Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tipped their hat to Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Now the Buccaneers have themselves back in control of the playoff fate, and a win, and they're in for Baker and the
I think they
NFC
win.
South leading Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I want to talk about some games that we did not pick, which was Kansas City playing against Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Now, going in, Pittsburgh's playing at home, and all the scuttlebutt was about how good Russell Wilson was and how good he looked now that he was with Pittsburgh as opposed to Denver. And they lost 29-10.
Yeah, the Steelers are collapsing at the absolute wrong time, and they have a huge game today against the Cincinnati Bengals, who I'm going to pick Cincinnati, but we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes here. But right now, the Steelers, if they lose this game, they'll be down to the second wild card, and the Chargers would leapfrog the Steelers, and
Yes.
which would then, right now, the season end today, the Steelers would be projected to face the Houston Texans, which I look at that as two teams that are just not playing well. I'd rather be in that position. But if the Steelers lose and the Chargers win, Clay, well, the Steelers would then have to face their friends, the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, gosh. And at Baltimore, I bet. Too.
In Baltimore, exactly right. So,
Well, I just wanted to talk about that. That's one of the games we didn't get to talk about. Then that was the Christmas Day, and then it was Seattle. We didn't pick that one. But Seattle, are they going anywhere? I don't know.
No, they've been eliminated. Yeah, that's how. Let's talk about the Patriots for a few minutes before we get to our picks. Final game of the regular season. Clay, with the Giants winning last week. Thank you to the Giants. I guess thank you. We say thank you. I don't know. However way you want to look at it. Right now, Clay, the Patriots hold sole possession of the number one pick in the 2025 NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe it?
Yes, I can believe it. I mean, they fought their way to the bottom, and it took a lot of determination and courage and tenacity, but they pulled it through. They managed to dig their way down there, and now they hold the bottom. They hold it down. If they could just get Gerard Mayo out of their way, what should they do the last game? Okay, let's
see what one of the analysts has to say.
Yeah,
Phil Perry.
This entire season, to me, for the Patriots, has really been about asset management. It really hasn't been about winning football games. And for me, asset management would include not playing Drake May the full game. Maybe he plays a little bit to start, get him a handful of reps. It would include playing Joe Milton. The standard was set before the season even began. Players in the locker room, and I've had an issue with it at times, there really has not been much urgency to win this year. And so I'm not sure why you would change that in the final game of the season when there is stuff to lose, whether it's the health of the quarterback.
He's exactly right. I think he's exactly spot on. And Joe Milton should be starting this game. We shouldn't even see Drake May.
We shouldn't even see Drake
at
May.
all.
And what is this thought that you have to put him out there for a couple of plays? Why? Spend the time. You should have spent this whole week preparing Joe Milton to play.
Exactly right.
Don't split any reps. Don't split any time with Drake May. No, Drake May, you have a seat. Besides, you're on the injury report with a hand, and we know you got concussed last week. Anyway, so forget about it. Sit you on the bench. Let's audition this guy. Let's see what he's got. Maybe we can get a high draft pick for him or whatever the case may be, but now's the time to do it. There's no reason to even put Drake May out there or for him to have been practicing this week. It should have been spent on Joe Milton.
So, Clay, if you're a betting man, what do you say? Is Gerard Mayo out or in come Monday?
He should be out. He should be out because here's a guy still talking about putting Drake May out there, even though he knows the guy was concussed. He said he wanted to get back in there. You know, it shows that he's got I don't care. This is not about his fighting spirit. He's on the team that couldn't block a turtle. Okay? That's how bad they are. You're just setting this guy up to be hurt, and there's no reason for it. The season is over. You should have put Jacoby Brissett in there 4 games ago and called it a wrap when he first got his first concussion, when he got concussed 4 games ago. This guy, Drake May, has been concussed, I don't know, 2 or 3 times this year. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Does anybody really want to take control? And for you fans who think it's a great idea to throw him out there just because he's a rookie and it's supposed to be leadership of the team, as Phil Perry pointed out to you, it's not about winning games.
Right.
This is not about winning. It's about asset management. And Drake May is an asset. Now this is asset management again. You should have been preparing Joe Milton to play this game.
So, Clay Morris, if the Patriots do lose this game against the Buffalo Bills, which I'm actually going to take the Patriots in this game because I think Buffalo's not going to play many of their starters, and I hope to see Joe Milton. I hope he comes out and he's got a great arm. We all know that, and let's see what he's able to do. Patriots lose this game. They have the number 1 pick. What do you do with it? Do you keep it or do you trade it? Do you keep it to draft an offensive lineman like Will Campbell from LSU or Travis Hunter from Colorado?
No.
Or do you trade it for a series of picks?
You trade it for a series of picks. You trade it for 2 or 3 offensive linemen and 2 defensive linemen down. How many position plays you can get, but you definitely need offensive linemen, and you need to make a splash in the offseason to get a offensive lineman who has come to an expiring contract and is out there on the market. Pair him with a couple of free agents that are on the team that are coming in, some new guys on the team. And darn it, make that move for Mike Vrabel.
Well, there was an interesting report from Mike Vrabel, who was interviewed for the New York Jets head coach already. Some have reporting that Vrabel wants to be the head coach of the New England Patriots, and he's using his interview with the Jets as leverage for that to happen. And I think a lot of Patriots fans would like to see Mike Vrabel as a head coach. You know, I said this before, about a month ago, Clay, I would say I don't think Mayo's going to be fired, but with the way things have gone the last month of the year here, the way he's continued to throw not just his players, but his coaching staff under the bus, I'm willing to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but this is a continual thing with Gerard Mayo. I don't think he's learned, and I think both Jonathan and Robert Kraft have seen enough. And by the way, if Vrabel was still around, was not fired unceremoniously by the Titans right after, I think right after they hired Mayo, I think they would have brought in Vrabel in before they brought in Mayo.
Well, I don't know. That's water under the bridge. It's all hypothetical now, but they have the opportunity to make that right. And let's get on with our picks. We only got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, I know, but this is so much more important than talking about some of these picks. I'll just say it. But
he's just being biased because he's thinking that a lot of these teams don't matter. With the Patriots,
they don't. The
Patriots don't really matter right now either.
They don't. But that's what we can talk about it. That's fine. We'll talk about it. That's fine.
Tomorrow or today we got Cleveland. Cleveland going to Baltimore, a 4:30 game. You can get tickets there for $32. I am going to take Baltimore, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, Baltimore win, and they clinch the AFC North, and I think they'll take care of the Browns just fine. And Bailey Zappi going to start.
Yes, he is.
For the Cleveland Browns. Old friend Bailey Zappi. Clay's a big fan of his. And
I love Bailey. Bailey, you know what? I'm not going to deny it. I am a big fan of yours. If you get a chance, stop in and we'll talk about it. We'll bring you on the show. Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going into Pittsburgh. I'm going to take Cincinnati, baby.
Yeah, I think I'll also take the Bengals as well. Took them last week in a huge win against Denver that kept their playoff hopes alive. Cincinnati needs a win and a lot of other help. They need Miami and the Denver Broncos to lose tomorrow. But all starts today against Pittsburgh. I'll take the Bengals to win.
Okay, what you got?
Oh, I lost my sheet, so I'm going to have to go a different one.
I can carry you.
All right, let's talk about the Bills and the Patriots quickly. I'm going to take the Patriots just the virtue of the fact that the Bills aren't going to be playing any of their starters, including Josh Allen. Hope to see Joe Milton come in and play a little bit, and I'll take the Patriots to close out Week 18.
That's a heck of a pick.
It is. That's all right.
Okay.
By virtue of the fact, again, that they don't have any starters playing.
I'll take the Patriots. Carolina is going to Atlanta, and Atlanta needs this game in order to stay relevant. If Tampa Bay loses, they could claim it, but I am going to take Atlanta. We'll see what happens.
Take Atlanta, too, with Michael Penix Jr. You're right. The Falcons do need a win, and they do win, and the Buccaneers lose. They're in the playoffs, clinching the NFC South, and this could be a spoiler game. I think Bryce Young and the Panthers have had the record doesn't indicate it, but they're playing better football. I've said it here in the program before, and look out for the Panthers in the offseason and see what they do in developing Bryce Young. Could be a very interesting year ahead for the Panthers, but I'll take Atlanta in this game.
Great. We got Washington going to Dallas, and I'm not going to make the same mistake that I made last week in picking Dallas over Philadelphia. I am going to take Washington over Dallas.
Game that doesn't mean much. Washington's in, but of course it could determine seeding between Washington and Green Bay, where they're going to head to the playoffs. But I'll take Washington as well. Expect Jaden Daniels to play most, if not all, of the game. And very interesting to see what will happen with the Dallas Cowboys in the offseason. Will Mike McCarthy come back with a healthy Dak Prescott? We will wait and see what happens. But I'll take Washington this game. Congrats to Jaden Daniels bringing the Commanders to the playoffs.
Unbelievable.
This year.
Well, we have Houston traveling to we have Chicago traveling to Green Bay, the old NFC Central. game, and I'm going to take Green Bay.
Take Green Bay as well. Again, Green Bay's in the playoffs. Tough loss against the Vikings on the road last week. They almost had it, but they weren't able to get it. And, well, the Bears looking to move on from a horrible, horrible year and first year under Caleb Williams. We'll see what head coach they bring in next year, whether it's Pete Carroll, whether it is whoever, trying to develop Caleb Williams in year 2. But I'll take the Packers, and look out for the Packers in the playoffs. Any of those 3 NFC North teams in the playoffs.
They're going to be tough. Houston is taking on Tennessee. Houston's taking on Tennessee. Traveling to Tennessee, and you can get tickets for $5. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You can get there for $5, and you can watch the game in Tennessee. I'm taking Houston.
I'll take Houston as well, trying to get their 10th win this year. It's just been an interesting year for C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, and they should consider themselves to be very lucky, claiming the fact that they play in the worst division in the NFL, and then, of course, the AFC South with the 3 other teams, the Colts, the Jaguars, and the Titans. But I'll take the Texans. Going to host a home playoff game, but limping into the playoffs, and we'll see whether it's against Pittsburgh or the Chargers. I think a first-round exit is in store for C.J. Stroud and the Texans, and the Will Levis era is over in Tennessee. We'll see what happens, whether it's Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders next year in Tennessee for the Titans. We're going to get a high draft pick.
It happens. Since we've already talked about the Buffalo, New England, we don't have to talk about that game. New York is traveling to
Who are you taking in that game? Did you take?
I'm going to take I'm going to take New England.
There we go.
I'm
Thank you.
Okay. We have New York traveling to Philadelphia. The New York Giants,
Yes.
New York Football Giants, traveling to Philadelphia. I'm going to take Philadelphia.
I'll take Philly too. It looks like Saquon Barkley's not going to play to break that record. We'll see if Nick Sirianni has a last-minute change of heart. But
He will.
no Jalen Hurts as well, keeping him out of the concussion protocol, but no need to start him. The Eagles have locked into the 2nd seed of the NFC, and Kenny Pickett's going to be in. And again, want to thank the Giants for winning last week, and now the Patriots control the number 1 draft pick. But the Giants and the Daniel Jones era and everything, they're looking for a new quarterback as well. So I expect the Eagles to finish out the season nicely.
I'm taking, now that I know that Jalen Hurts isn't playing either, I'm taking the Giants.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. We have New Orleans traveling to Tampa Bay. I'm taking Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay by 100 in this game. I mean, Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield, who is going to get some MVP votes as well. He's had a great season in Tampa Bay. I know the record doesn't reflect it, but again, you got to remember he's been out without Evans and Godwin for a couple of games this year as well. Godwin for most of the season. So a win, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers clinched the NFC South, and yet the 4 seed in the NFC. And I'm going to take them 4th or 3rd seed. They get a chance to do either of the 2 there, depending upon the LA game at 4 o'clock. But I'll take the Buccaneers against the Saints. We talked about off-air, Clay, a little bit with the Saints. They still have not figured out what they're going to do at quarterback. They have not moved on from the Drew Brees era, and that's showing in New Orleans. But Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield headed to the playoffs if all goes well.
Go TB. Next, we have Kansas City traveling to Denver. This is going to be a close game. I'm going to take – I don't think Kansas City has anything to win in this one.
They don't. They've clinched the number 1 seed. Patrick Mahomes not playing.
I'm taking Denver.
Carson Wentz is going to start for the Kansas City Chiefs, trying to bring back some of what he was able to do a couple of years ago with the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll see. Denver, a win, and they're in. They don't need any of the help. They just need to win. A brutal loss on the road against Cincinnati last week. They could have clinched 2 weeks in a row. They haven't been able to do it. Going to try to do it at home, Week 18 against the Kansas City Chiefs. We're looking to play spoilers. Again, the scenario, Denver wins and they're in. If Denver loses and Miami wins, Miami's in. And if Miami loses and Denver's in, Denver loses, well, then Joe Burrow is in for the Cincinnati Bengals. Give me Denver in this game.
Okay, we got to speed through this. Los Angeles is traveling to Las Vegas. The Chargers, that is Los Angeles. And I'm going to take the Chargers. They need it.
Yeah, the Raiders have won 2 games in a row, finishing the year okay, but I think the Chargers take this. Justin Herbert's going to play most of the starters, depending upon seeding. They could be the 5th seed. They could be the 6th seed, depending upon Pittsburgh. Give me the Chargers to finish up nicely against Vegas.
Seattle is traveling to the Los Angeles Rams to take on the Rams. I'm going to take Seattle in this one because I don't think L.A. needs to play.
L.A. does need to play, but Sean McVay is saying that it doesn't matter where they're going to go. They're ready to play anybody, and Matthew Stafford not playing. Jimmy Garoppolo is in for the Rams. I'll take Seattle on the road to finish up the year against the Rams.
Miami's traveling to New York to take on the Jets, and Miami needs this.
50 seconds. Yep.
I'm taking Miami.
Miami without Tua, I'm going to take them. Could be Aaron Rodgers' last game, not just for the Jets, but for his career as well.
San Francisco traveling to Arizona. I am going to take Arizona.
Give me Arizona to put a staple in a horrible year for the 49ers in the final game. Oh, gosh, I wish we had more time to talk about this. 14-2, 2 teams that are just you couldn't ask for a better storyline to end the year. 14-2, the winner, number 1 seed in the NFC North. Vikings, Lions. Give me the Lions against the Lions, and congrats to Sam Darnold. The Vikings owe in a great year.
Roar, Lions, roar.
There we go.
Here we go.
And that's it.
That's it.
2 hours. We got to get more of this. More of this.
We could talk about this. We really wanted to talk about Minnesota and Detroit, but not enough time.
See you, everybody.
Have a nice day and a nice week. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. Everybody get